An American invites his new German friend, whose English is not very good, to a bar. They have some small talk, have some drink. Suddenly, the American guy hears his friend saying, douche. Now the German one is trying to say that after the day, he should have a shower, which is douche in German. He obviously doesn't know that it sounds like a negative word in English, and the American friend doesn't know that he's speaking German. So with a little bit of alcohol in their body already, they soon pick up a fight. Then the very next day, their friend no longer. In that story, the German guy uses what is known as code switching. This phenomenon is particularly common among bilinguals and multilinguals, and as ULIS students who practically speak at least 3 languages, this is no exception. Code switching is not necessarily a bad thing. We have been using it for a long time and still being fine. However, such misunderstanding like the story just now, and also some poor representations of code switching on media recently have made a majority of society in Vietnam stand against it. Is it true that code switching brings about negative impact in linguistic aspects? This video will look into this matter by figuring out the correlation between code switching and one's cognitive capacity. So, as an initial approach, we have interviewed some ULIS students about their thoughts of code switching.
I think code switching is the mixture of our Vietnamese with English when we talking to people.
Yes, I have heard this term. Okay, so to what extent do you understand about this term? It's a mixture between 2 languages.
I think there's no relationship between them. I think this the problem of the person who want to show off, not because they are good.
Yes.
Before getting started, we should clarify some new terms regarding code switching and cognitive ability. So firstly, what is code switching? Some people are monolingual and speak just one language. Other people are bilingual or multilingual and speak more than one language. Bilingual or multilingual people sometimes switch back and forth between 2 or more different languages at a level of a word, phrase, or sentence. This is called code switching. There are various reasons why people might switch from their matrix language to an embedded language. Based on the concept of functional specialization by Jacobson in 1960, Appel and Miskin in 2006 listed 6 main functions of code switching. Number 1. Directive function. People switch languages to either include or exclude other people from the conversation. Maybe you want to tell secrets, so you switch to a language that the people around you don't understand, or maybe the opposite. Maybe you want to end the private conversation and re-engage with the people around you, so you switch to a language that they do understand. For instance, the old man code switches good morning, a familiar language, to the boy with the desire to be closer and friendlier to him. Number 2. Expressive function. People include the embedded language in order to express some part of their identity. For example, they want to show their connection to a certain country or culture, and in some cases, it might be an expression of status through association with the prestigious outgroup. A following celebrity can be an outstanding example.
Và wow, this is the first time in thần tượng âm nhạc Việt Nam Idol. It's very welcome. Welcome em.
Number 3. Referential function. Someone who is unable to express an idea easily in one language switches to the other language in order to express it more easily. This seems to be very common among bilingual children and immigrant families. This can be best illustrated by a conversation like:
Này, sáng lướt internet tao tìm thấy mấy video rõ hài cơ. Wow, deadlines cập đầu mà mày vui nhỉ.
Number 4. Phatic function. Sometimes the speaker switches languages or repeats something both languages in order to emphasize it. Let's look at a case from the movie The Three Idiots. The headmaster probably used the phrase "don't forget" to draw attention, and "you" to emphasize the selection of these particular students.
Don't forget कि हर साल IC में 4 लाख एप्लीकेशंस आते हैं और उनमें से सिर्फ 200 सेलेक्ट होते हैं. You.
Number 5. Metalinguistic function. This is reporting something in the other language or commenting on something said in the other language. For example, you are speaking in Japanese, but then you quote a lyric from an English language song without translating it. Maybe you say something in the embedded language, but then you can explain it or add further commentary in the matrix language. Number 6. Poetic function. The speaker says certain words or makes jokes in the embedded language for amusement or for some kind of artistic purpose. To illustrate, a girl told her friend, "Hey, mới đọc được câu thơ romantic lắm này. If my love were an ocean, there'd be no more land. If my love were a desert, you'd see only sand." Hay không? In this case, code switching serves as both poetic and metalinguistic functions. Those are 6 functions of code switching. Now it's time to figure cognitive ability out.
According to Gottfriedson 1997, cognitive ability is defined as a general mental capability involving reasoning, problem solving, planning, abstract thinking, complex idea, and learning from experience. Based on Carroll's research in 1993, cognitive ability is divided into 3 strata. Strata 3 is also known as general intelligence. This factor accounts for the correlations among the broad abilities at stratum 2. Stratum 2 is called broad abilities. They consist of 8 broad abilities involving fluid intelligence, crystallized intelligence, general memory and learning, broad visual perception, broad auditory perception, broad retrieval ability, broad cognitive speediness and processing speed, and lastly is stratum 1. It's also known as narrow abilities. They are more specific factors under the stratum 2. In this section, we will focus on stratum 2 to measure cognitive abilities of FELTE first-year students in ULIS. In terms of methodology, we utilize 2 tests. One is designed based on other research to measure frequencies of using code switching. One is SLE, which is short for Scholastic Level Exam of Warnerlick, a version of Warnerlick's famous cognitive ability test, which is specifically designed for colleges and universities. After 3 days conducting an online survey, we received about 70 responses, and here are our findings.
The survey presents the frequencies of using code switching of the respondents. For each question, the overall tendencies of respondents' answer is in the middle between never and usually, which means that almost all of them frequently do the given situation. In general, 82% of the respondents agree that they frequently use code switching in both their academic and daily life, following by 18% of the respondents usually use code switching, which is 7 times less than the frequency level. Finally, the smallest percentage belongs to people who rarely use code switching, with 6%. Since the participants are ULIS FELTE freshmen, the levels of using code switching for studying purpose and for daily activities are equivalent. These above figures imply that code switching has become a significant factor in both ULIS FELTE freshmen everyday life and studying process. The data shows that the majority of the respondents' cognitive ability is average, with 43 out of 66 participants having scores about 10 out of 30. In contrast, the number of respondents who advance in cognitive ability test is smallest, which is 7 times less than the average score. The 17 remaining participants have below average cognitive ability. This number shows that 74.2% of the participants have cognitive ability above basic level, which means that they can read, understand, reason, solve the questions, and give appropriate answers. However, 25.8% of the students do not reach the required score, which can be classified into two types through assessing their answers. The former is students who do not have enough cognitive ability to solve the questions, while the latter is one who randomly answer without putting their efforts in thinking. The data shows that there is a relationship between the frequencies of using code switching and cognitive ability. In rarely code switch group, 3 out of 4 participants are advanced in cognitive ability. This figures means that students who seldom use code switching may have higher cognitive ability, which can be visualized by the higher score in a test. However, there is a continuous decrease in the level of cognitive ability from people who frequently code switch to ones who usually do, which can lead to an assumption that students who have a tendency to use too much code switching possess lower cognitive skills. In specific, 76% of frequent code switch users have average cognitive ability, followed by 17.6% are below average. Moreover, the number of students who have advanced cognitive ability reduced from 3 of frequent code switchers to 0 of usual code switchers, while the amount of students who have average cognitive ability is 3. This figure of below average is 8. The survey results show a negative correlation between the frequencies of using code switching and cognitive ability. An increase in the frequencies of using code switching leads to a decrease in the cognitive ability and vice versa. This means that people who frequently code switch have lower cognitive ability than others who rarely use code switch. This finding bears certain resemblance to a research on the effects of language mode on the cognitive advantages of bilingualism. This research presented that in a lexical decision task of Source and Grosjean, 1984, the results demonstrated that bilinguals were slower to accept code switch words in the bilingual mode than they were for words in the monolingual modes. Also, a study by Digret et al. 2000 provides support that the participants perform the task differently depending on the language mode simulated in the experiments. Bilinguals processed words faster when the setting was more language-specific. The two mentioned findings prove that code switching may affect cognitive ability in a negative way. In conclusions, this documentary film proves that the frequencies of using code switching and cognitive ability have a negative correlation. Green and Wei's research about code switching in 2014 points out that code switching entails unique demands on control mechanisms. This means that to code switch, users need to possess a certain level of cognition, or else they will code switch in a negative and ineffective way.